So thank you for coming here today. Just going to ask you a few questions. So the first one is, while you were undertaking your doctoral studies, you had a mentor in addition to your PhD supervisors. Can you describe to me any of the benefits of the mentoring you received?
Yeah, so I was matched with a mentor who was not in my profession and not in my area of the country, and had very little idea about orthoptics and eyes and about my project. But actually, I found that having a mentor that was very removed from my project and removed from my area of clinical practice was really helpful. We had lots of great conversations about not just who I was and where I was kind of aiming to get to, but about how things worked in my area of clinical practice, about my project. And it was quite nice to actually have a conversation with somebody who didn't really know very much about it. And my mentor asked different questions to my supervisors, so it made me really talk about my project and my plans in a different way, really. It also allowed some questions and conversations about career progression and how doctoral studies worked for me as an orthoptist and the route I was taking. And I think I was unaware that other health professions might have some different options. So it made our conversations about me and my project and my aims for the future, it kind of informed them from a really different perspective. So I valued that difference of opinion, and it meant that it wasn't just similar conversations that I was having in my institution. Obviously, I had like a personal tutor in my institution as well. So it made our conversations really different. So I valued that point of difference, actually. And the conversations I had with my mentor were focused a little bit on me and where I wanted to go. And I think sometimes when you're in a PhD and in your study, you're so far into the project and you're so all consumed by the project, you forget to have a conversation about you, and you forget to reflect on how far you've come before you've even started the PhD, about your progression during your studies, but also afterwards as well. So it was an opportunity to have a conversation more focused on my thoughts, my ideas, my progression, and that bigger picture, really. So it was nice to talk about the project a little bit, but have a really different focus than either a supervisor, a clinician who knew me, or a clinician who knew my area of practice, and also somebody within my institution who was a personal tutor. So it was just a really different angle, and we had conversations that were from a very different perspective, and they really made me think, actually, and I quite enjoyed those thinking conversations.
That's great. Thank you so much. So now that you've finished and had gained your doctoral title, what advice would you offer to someone thinking about requesting a mentor?
So when I kind of began the programme and I kind of requested a mentor, I automatically looked for somebody either close geographically, because I was thinking it'd be really great to meet up with them, and I was automatically looking for somebody who was quite close or quite aligned with what I was either doing in my project or doing professionally. But I would encourage myself back then, and others in the future, to think a bit broader and a bit bigger. I think it was really nice that I was matched with somebody quite different. So the advice I would give is, don't just look for more of the same. Actually take it as an opportunity to step outside the box, step outside your kind of lane of professional expertise or kind of methodological expertise, and just go for something really different. it's an amazing opportunity to go broader and wider and just a really different perspective. So don't be tempted to just kind of stick with more expertise of what you're probably already getting from your supervisors. Just go for something really different.
Definitely, that's great advice. Thank you. Just a final question. Is there anything else you would like to say about your doctoral journey?
So for me, it was a long competitive process to even be awarded the doctoral funding, and I felt very thankful and very grateful for the opportunity I'd been given. And I felt that my mentor, because they were from that kind of clinical academic world as a fellow AHP, even though they weren't at all related to my clinical area, I felt that they really got that. There was a level of understanding of how hard I'd worked before I'd even started. And you know, whilst it was a great thing for my institution that I was awarded the fellowship, I felt that my mentor really got it. They'd had not the same journey, but a similar journey, and they really understood the funding scheme that I was on. And that was also useful for conversations about the future as well. And because my mentor had had kind of funding through a similar scheme, through the ICA scheme, they gave me some great advice during my PhD about getting in touch with the NIHR and seeing that as a really kind of two-way process, keeping open those lines of communication with the NIHR, talking about changes that I maybe wanted to make to either my plans or my training or my funding. And whilst it didn't mean I could just merrily change everything and get what I wanted, I think because they'd experienced the scheme that I'd been on, they had some really positive experiences of keeping an open dialogue with the NIHR during my doctoral training. So that was really valuable as well. So I think the experiences that my mentor had had for their training, that was really useful for them to pass on to me, and useful to just for me to see the training opportunity from a slightly different perspective, actually. So I enjoyed my doctoral journey. It was extremely challenging. It felt never ending at times. It felt like I was pushing a big rock up a very big hill, just very, very slowly. And there were times where things were going really well and times where things were not going well at all. And it sounds a bit naff to describe it as a journey, but it very much felt like that. And my mentor really got it. She really understood it. I felt like she tried to really get to know me and get to know the challenges I was experiencing. And those conversations we had, I really enjoyed them. They were really valuable. They were really constructive. And I felt like my mentor really made a positive impact on me during my PhD. So I think we're very consumed by the application, and even getting the award and then undertaking the PhD is such a mammoth challenge, and there will be good times and bad times. But I think gaining the input and the insight from others who've been through it, I found that really valuable. So I would encourage others to embrace mentoring, even to just have a conversation with somebody different, somebody who you really feel has got your best interests at heart, and they kind of trust you and the process, and they trust your supervision that you've put in place. But their conversations are focused on you and your progression and helping you work through things that are challenging. So I enjoyed it. It was hard work, but I think stick with it and you do get there in the end. It's just about asking for help and contributions from other people along the way. So for me, a mentor was a really important part of that.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for telling us about your journey and the mentorship scheme. Thank you.
Thank you.